We gotta get you to hair and makeup.
Fuck you. Hey guys, welcome back to It's Worth a Pilot. My name's Dane Drumhiller and I'm here with David Bushnell.
What's up, guys?
And today we're talking about the Amazon original, Fleabag. David, why don't you give us the rundown?
Yeah, so this is an awesome show. It's Emmy nominated for 11 different nominations. It's an Amazon Prime original because that seems to be what we're doing these first few weeks. It was nominated for Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, and Outstanding Comedy Series. It is a comedy series adapted from the award-winning play by the same name about a young woman trying to cope with life in modern urban London while contending and trying to deal with a recent tragedy in her life. It was written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is the creator and the star in the show, and directed by Harry Bradbeer, who you may know from Killing Eve, and Tim Kirkby, which I'm not really familiar with any of the work that he's done, so if you want to drop a comment or something about some cool stuff that we could check out from him, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, man. We have a really rare situation here where Amazon's giving us the opportunity to see like the first major works of some really great people. I had no idea this was an adaptation of a stage work, which is awesome. I think that's so cool. I'd really be interested to see what this looks like on stage.
Yeah.
It'd be
Interesting. Yeah.
Especially with all that fourth wall work. I think on stage the fourth wall breaking is a lot more interesting.
Yeah, well, it's also in some ways more difficult to do well, and in some ways, actually part of it, because I mean, a lot of stage productions will incorporate the audience in certain ways of it.
I don't know how I would feel about seeing this sitting in like the top row of a big theater, but I'd love to see it sitting in a black box.
Yeah, no, that
would be choice.
That would be really cool.
So this show is rare. It's a rarity, man. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's another British production.
Yeah.
And like I've talked about in past episodes, I tend to not really enjoy British productions as much just based on their style of comedy that Brits generally tend to lean into, which is like that really dry, kind of modest stuff. But this show is knocked down, drag out, disgusting, fucked up.
It's real raunchy.
It's great, man. It's really enjoyable. Like the first scene is her getting fucked in the butt.
Yeah, that's how the show opens, and that was actually one of the reasons. I mean, not her getting fucked in the ass, but the style of comedy.
Yeah,
was
them being willing to do that really locked me in on this one.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to show this one to you, because I knew what your kind of traditional problems with British comedy generally is, and I knew that this really breaks the mold, and it would be something that, especially for you, would be really accessible and something that you would really enjoy, even though,
like I hate when like reviewers and critics say things like laugh out loud funny, but I literally laughed out loud at a lot of points in this show. It was
can confirm
so funny. Oh my god, it's really great because it's strong female lead, which we love. We love a good strong female lead. And the fact that it's like created by her too gives you this really beautiful like first person perspective on the whole thing. Even though the show isn't first person, but you're really getting like there's no middleman in the information that you're receiving, and it's really bare and accessible and fun and honest.
Yeah, and you can really tell it's a passion project for everybody involved. It's just done really, really well. The characters all have a really great chemistry on screen. The dialogue is really, really well done, and it just feels really real and really raw. It's part drama, part comedy, because as we were saying at the beginning, the main character, she doesn't actually ever get a name, so she's generally referred to as Fleabag when it's discussed.
Oh yeah, I never realized that.
Yeah.
People use pet names and stuff like that, but nobody said her name.
So she's generally just referred to as Fleabag. Yeah, there's a lot of little things like that.
Yeah, it's a really like the humor can be found all over the show, but there's a lot of really nichey, like hidden goofs and jokes, like and things like that are like if you're really paying attention, you'll find them.
Yeah. And you have some really quirky moments. She's a really quirky character, actually. But it's really endearing and really just brings you into the show. For me, when I first watched this pilot, I mean, it was really interesting just how it juxtaposes kind of her sexuality against the kind of the tragedy of where she is in life.
There were some really cool parts in this show that like I just want to go over like what our favorite parts of this episode were.
Okay, obviously the opening scene is great.
Yeah.
Like
definitely.
Like it's one of those things where like you say, oh, it opens up with her getting fucked in the ass, and you're most like if someone came up to me, I'd be like, okay, why?
At first glance, you kind of wonder, as like kind of a snobby, critical person, you kind of wonder like, oh, that seems excessive and unnecessary. Yeah. But it really just like what the show did is they decided to slap you across the face with exactly who this woman is. Yeah, and they're not trying to make you think that she's anything else other than Fleabag. Yeah. She's not dainty, she's not proper or anything like that. She's very much just Fleabag. And she's gnarly.
And what's great about that opening sequence is that, like you said, it slaps you in the face, and it's really just the creators being like, okay, this is what we're about to do. Now's the time to get off the ride if you're not here for this. And
if you're a prude, get the hell out.
Because I mean, the first time that I watched that, when I watched it the first time, I almost didn't make it through that. I was like,
really?
Oh, yeah, I was like, oh, okay. And I had to take a second and be like, is this what we're gonna do? And my brain was like, honestly, let's just see where this goes.
Yeah.
It's worth a pilot.
A theme that I just loved across the board with this was how they really kind of explain that you as a woman, and I feel like this is really important in British culture, whereas in American culture we're kind of used to it, but it's like a woman is not definable. Like no human being should ever really be definable, but who you are and who you exist as and the way you act and the way you hold yourself and carry yourself is not definable, not by anybody, but especially not by like people who are in your day-to-day life. And I think they do a really good job of doing that, not by making the girl a bitch, but by making her very unpredictable, not only to the audience, but to herself, really.
Yeah.
She kind of is flying on the seat of her pants and just doing whatever she can in the moment to make things work.
I'd say that it goes beyond just women, right? I think what she really does is just encapsulates kind of that struggle of being 20, not really knowing what the fuck you're doing, and just like that fact of life that like we're just making this up as we go along, and all of us are barely holding on by the skin of our teeth.
So did you see the clip of Kevin Spacey
doing the let me be frank?
Let me be frank.
That was so horrifying.
It was so good. It was so good.
It was so good. It was also horrifying.
I like Kevin. I think he's a little boy diddling genius. My absolute favorite fourth wall breaking in this episode, and what I really feel is a great example of like why they're breaking the fourth wall and what they're doing with it and how they're showing you what like any given human being has going on in their mind versus what they allow out is probably the most relatable thing I've ever heard in my life, and it's never even happened to me. Which is where she's with her sister and she's got her jacket on and she turns to the camera and says, I just realized I have the top that I'm wearing under this is the one that she's been looking for a couple of years now. Yeah. And she's like, so I guess I'll, and then, or no, she doesn't even say anything after that. And then her sister goes, you want to take your jacket off? And she just goes, no. And I'm just like, that's priceless because it's so true. Like, when you have something like that, it just like, it kind of eats away in your brain, but you'll never, your pride will always get in the way of it, and it'll never let you just be honest about the fact that you stole that top.
And then the next scene, she comes out of the bathroom and gives the top to her sister. Her sister tries to give her a hug, and she just smacks her sister in the face. Oh my god, that show is just absolute gold. But like you were saying, there is, like, in the episode itself, there is a really good use of the fourth wall break to really give you kind of a look inside, as we were saying, inside Fleabag's mind. But over the course of the show, so I've seen both seasons of the show now. Over the course of the first season, there becomes a very real reason why, a story reason why they're breaking the fourth wall, and why Fleabag's telling the story that she's telling. And and once that reveal comes out, we're avoiding spoilers, but once that reveal comes to the forefront, the fourth wall breaks pretty much all but stop. And it's really interesting how they do that.
So, really quick before we do the ratings, what I wanted to tell you guys is, like we said before, this is a British television show. So, understand that the creators of this show have done just what British creators do, which is they tell the story, and when the story's done, they're not going to keep making it just for the money. So, you get 2 seasons of this. 11 Emmy nominations, guys. 11 Emmy nominations, okay? I'd be hard-pressed to find anybody who could watch this and tell you they don't want to watch the rest of the show. I implore you, even before I give my rating, I implore you to please go check out this show. It's very worth it. I want the writers and creators to get more traction. I want everyone who worked on this to get more traction. I want them to get another Amazon contract. I want them to get Netflix contracts. I want them to do a movie. Not necessarily even this story. I just want them to be able to continue to create. And a lot of times I feel like we see good creators make something that's a little bit niche, and it doesn't get enough traction, and then you don't see anything else from them. Or you see other small projects that didn't get any traction either, and they just kind of have to fall by the wayside and get a job at frickin' Arby's or something. So, what do you think?
I'm begging for more. When I finished watching the pilot, the first time I watched it, I ended up sitting down and watching probably half of the first season.
Yeah.
And even after 2 seasons, I was so heartbroken when I found that was it. This is one of those things I'd petition Amazon to renew them for a 3rd season. They're not going to do it. The directors don't want to do a 3rd season, so it's never going to happen. But
as long as that's why they're not doing another season, I'm fine.
Yeah, but ultimately, it left me begging for more.
Except if Peaky Blinders decide not. I'd lock everybody who's ever worked on that show in a fucking cage until they agree to do more. For me, begging for more. I absolutely loved it, and
I knew you would.
I am hard-pressed to find British shows that have this, like, raunchy, callous, fucked up humor that I am in love with. And so when I find one that's well-written, well-directed, well-acted, and is hilarious like this, laugh out loud funny, Ebert and Roper say, laugh out loud funny, I have to keep watching it. I can't not. It's a fantastic show.
Yeah.
It's irrefutable.
Yeah.
You couldn't, if you came to me after watching this show and said it was bad, we couldn't be friends, because it's decidedly a good show.
Blocked.
You could tell me that there are things that you didn't like about it, but you couldn't tell me that it's not a good show. Like we've said and agreed in the past, movies and art are subjective, but there are some things that you just can't deny. There are some things that you can't say, that's a bad show. You can say, I wasn't super into it, but you can't say that's a bad show. And this is anything but a bad show. This is fantastic. I'm begging you to go watch it. What?
Last week's show was pretty bad.
It was bad, but it who knows? There's somebody out. The director must have liked it. Like
Yeah. The director's mom.
Whoever had line on the final edit, they loved it.
That's true. Yeah.
Can you imagine just sitting in the edit bay, just like, look at this enormous piece of trash. All right, put it out. Phoebe Waller-Bridge. If you are a fan of good creators and people, and you have the ability to watch something from somebody and then transcend that particular story and follow them into the next story they're willing to write, definitely, I'm begging you, please go check out Phoebe Waller-Bridge. She is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Man. Just an amazing creator who's also a woman.
Yes.
Like, that's so cool because especially because that industry and particularly that creator aspect is so dominated by men.
Yeah.
Which is I'm not the type of person who's gonna sit here and be like, men suck, because like just because I'm a man and I'm an apologist, but I really do feel like when it's appropriate and when there's a woman out there who's creating something absolutely fantastic, we have to give her every bit of support in the world.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, I mean, ultimately what it comes down to is that the work she's doing is super good.
It's on par.
It is
It's above par.
It is super good. It is well above
Under par?
over par. Under.
No, you want to be under par.
Only if you're playing golf.
Yeah, but that's the analogy. Isn't
Par
it?
is average.
Yeah, so you want
Par just means average. So
So
you
you
want to be
wanna-
above average.
but you want to putt under par. Like,
Oh my.
if you putt under par, it's a birdie or an eagle. Okay? Alright guys, that's all the time we have for It's Worth a Pilot. Have a great night.